World of Warcraft's latest changes are great, according to Bellular. A lot has been going on in the game, whether you're talking about Season of Discovery, expansion announcements, or what's going on in current retail, which I've been enjoying quite a lot. Let's see what Mr. Bell has to say about the 5 major developments.
Season of Discovery just dethroned the Burning Crusade and Wrath Classic, and I've got 4 more big stories for you, as well as exactly everything else that's going down in-game this week. So, let's roll. Season of Mastery has, of course, launched, sending WoW up to 536,000 peak viewers on Twitch, which historically is pretty damn high. WoW Classic peaked at 1.1 million, which was kind of insane. TBC peaked at 434k, while Wrath Classic peaked at 388. And that does mean that, at least per the metric of Twitch Buzz, this has been a hell of a launch. And of course, if you're trying to get through a server queue, good luck. I mean, really, unlike any classic, then hardcore.
When you think about it, a 20-year-old game being at the top of Twitch, I literally saw them, and the next highest thing, to put it in perspective again, for where it was at that time of day when Season of Discovery went live, the next highest channel on Twitch in terms of viewership was Just Chatting, and it was 100k less than World of Warcraft. 20-year-old game, boys. It is immortal.
This is the one that offers a totally unique experience with loads of new shit to check out, so I can totally see this being actually real strong for the long-term future of World of Warcraft, and certainly this being a success. Well, if I was Blizzard, I'd be thinking about a more pure Classic Plus. As for me, I will hop on when the queues are not as insane. But of course, that's not the only thing that's happened in WoW this week. The burning of Teldrassil sent...
I will say one thing about Classic Plus, or not really, it's not really Classic Plus, Season of Discovery, is they've added raids. They're supposedly adding a Gnomeregan raid. But what I don't like about what they've been doing with these raids is they're only 10-man raids. What the hell is... That's not a raid. That's 2 parties put together. I want to see 40-man raids. That's the one thing that would actually get me interested in going and checking it out. Even though I'm a retail Andy, I miss 40-man raids. And if they're going to add new raids to Classic, I think it's got to be 40-man. That's Classic raiding, not 10-man raids. What is that? It's just a big group. It's a big dungeon group essentially.
WoW's lore into a very funny direction. Night Elves especially. Their old home in flames. Astronar wrecked. Darkshore reclaimed but essentially poisoned and destroyed. Well, fast forward to today and Blizzard have a new world tree. You could say perfect. Just put the Night Elves in the new tree, job done. Just that tree, and Mirdrassil is on the Dragon Isles. And for many, the prospect of the Night Elves leaving their ancient home is just kind of untenable. So, if you're Blizzard, how do you both do the story that you had planned and also keep the players happy? And it turns out, you do what they've actually done. So, Bellular is the new Night Elf capital city. It's located around the trunk of Mirdrassil, which has now bloomed out of the dream and is its own...
I have to say, I don't know if they're going to add more to this city. We reviewed the whole city and its aesthetic and everything like that. It currently feels like a camp more than a city. Like, Darnassus was grand. Darnassus was the first city I ever saw in World of Warcraft, because my first character ever was a Night Elf Hunter because I was a Legolas wannabe. I loved Lord of the Rings and I wanted to be Legolas, so I made a Night Elf Hunter. And the first city I ever saw was Darnassus. And it was grand. It was amazing. It felt magical. The current city feels like huts under a tree. I don't know how else to describe it. Now, maybe, I got to give them time. Maybe they're building the city. There's still more to be added to it. But as of right now, it does not feel like a city at all.
Own zone beside the Onaran Plains. We've got loads of nods to the past there, loads of old NPCs showing up, and more importantly, some actual connections. So, Balamath Harbour is reminiscent of Teldrassil's harbour, of course. Hopefully, these boats will have some working connections soon, but explore around and you'll see portals. The first one is to Feathermoon Stronghold down in Faralas. And if you take that portal, well, Feathermoon Stronghold has got a portal back to Bellular. Then as we move into Bellular proper, we actually see a portal hub. It's got links to Stormwind, to Darkshore, to Hyjal as well, and what that basically means is, yes, this is the new Night Elf capital, but canonically, all of those old Night Elf holdings that we very much care about and have big memories of when we were younger, those are still active parts of Night Elf culture. They have direct links to the capital.
Yeah, but is that enough? Just portals? Portals to the old Night Elf zones? As a Night Elf, I would still feel like this is kind of janked. That you're no longer in the areas that you used to be. I don't know.
Right. Now, personally, I'd
wouldn't want to
obviously
be on
love
the
to see
Dragon
some
Isles.
content around maybe rebuilding
Darnassus was
Astronar,
majestic, yes.
maybe, cleaning up Darkshore, something like that. So, who knows? But at the very least, this is a pretty awesome first step. Now, Bellular is also the first link in the second floor of Stormwind's newly expanded portal room, and heading back into the city itself, you do see that it is quite quaint compared to Darnassus, but it is rather lovely looking, lots of cool looking NPCs, many different references there, and tantalizingly, this may not be the end
I wonder
of
when they're going to open this. Did they say, is it the next patch or something? That whole new second floor opening to another portal section in the portal room?
things.
We're
In
gonna
the
get, like,
development notes,
6 more
Blizzard said
spots
the
or
construction is still underway. Now, I presume they mean like underway over the PTR because they're still building the thing.
Normal clear
but
today.
also it could allude to some grander plans for the Night Elves. Now, along with this, a bunch of Night Elf cosmetics have also been data
your
mined.
Night Elf
There are
backpack.
some that are on a vendor in Bellular that look pretty neat, and also all of these really cool like weapons, back pieces, and that kind of thing. So honestly, for me, so far, so good. I think of all the ways that they could have done this, that evolved, Mirdasil being where it is, and that being the Night Elf capital, this is pretty much the best way that they could have done it, because Kalimdor is absolutely still core to what Night Elves are doing. And of course, on top of this, we've got the whole Gilneas reclamation that's also going down in 10.2.5. And before we get to the D
Who would have thought?
Shadowlands,
Who would have thought we'd get to a point in the game where... Jesus. I don't know why that scared the shit out of me. Who would have thought that we get to a point where the Worgen have a better city than the Night Elves? The cityless Worgen are about to get Gilneas back, which I personally think is an amazing looking city. And now we're freaking stuck with, the Night Elves not even having a real city.
Of
What a time
classes,
to be alive.
I do actually have a favor.
Furries
to
are
ask.
back, baby, yeah.
Last month we launched our new home at bellular.ghost.io, and it would mean the world to me and the team if you checked it out. Over there, our members get early access to content like this episode that actually went live on Friday whenever John finished the edit, as well as our exclusive lore deep dive articles, our 5-day-a-week newsletter called Loading
Bellular
Screen,
sponsoring
and of
himself
course our
now.
members are also hanging out with me and the team.
That's when you
over
know
on
you've
the
made it.
Members Lounge Discord server. And big picture, I'm trying to build the future of what we're doing here and to be able to fund the best content that is possible. Think big, ambitious new lore series and us really stepping up our game hardcore as we head into the war within. So, bellular.ghost.io, and just because I found the button, I've decided to just turn on the 1-week free trial thing for a bit, so you can check it out. Let's see how that goes.
next, then, some de-Shadowlandsing. Yeah, so Shadowlands actually did give us some pretty damn cool new abilities, right? Many
Yeah.
of those were carried forward into talents, but the problem is they were themed around the Shadowlands, not around the actual classes.
True.
Or, I should say, they were. Because 10.2.5 is actually reskinning this list of abilities to be way more harmonious with the classes that actually use them. And certainly just...
Oh, that's actually good, because it was always kind of weird, like if somebody had an Ardenweald-esque ability, and they're like a demon hunter or something, I don't know, and they were creating like stars and all this, glittery shit that doesn't fit their aesthetic. This is cool. Even though as a DK, I have Abomination Limb, which totally fits in wonderfully with the whole Blood DK aesthetic, or the Death Knight in general aesthetic. But this is great. I didn't know they were doing this.
Looking at them, yeah, this is great. It's a small change, but it is a very welcome one.
You'd
that
rather
finally
have the
makes these
blood
feel like
limbs
true
and
evergreen
bloody
abilities
limbs, that'd
rather
be
than
amazing.
a past expansion holdover. Now, Blizz knows some people like the old versions. They say they'll do something in the future about that. I would imagine they'll probably just do a glyph. Right, it's been a while since Sylvanas and Varian hung out, yet we've got this new Sylvanas and Varian armor. Now, this stuff was data mined months ago for both characters. It's also older stuff. It's back when Sylvanas was wearing a bit less, and Varian was Logosh, a gladiator fighting
Yeah.
for orcish entertainment.
Badass Varian.
10.2.5 just added a quiver for Sylvanas that appears to match. And again, we've got no idea what is going on here, other than that these are the past appearances of these characters. Basically, who knows? It's kind of hard to see, though, how this could actually
lot of
tie into the
Sylvanas
narrative
transmog.
of our next 3 patches. Though, Blizzard did say the Dragonflight has got a few more surprises, so maybe something will happen with those two.
I'm still expecting something to happen with the Undercity. We got Kalia Menethil and her beautiful up-resed bosom running around, doing things with the undead, and they're still over there, doing whatever they are with the Undercity. I want to see Lordaeron return, and I feel like if all that stuff happens, we will see Sylvanas at some point. Also, her sister is like a main player in the next expansion. I'm expecting the Windrunner sisters to play a bigger role, so we're gonna see her again. It's almost a sure.
Hey, I'd take some varying. Okay, some other developments then. The slow march of high-definition models continues, with human transport ships
Yeah,
now
sugar dust, it's
being
gonna come back.
upgraded. These are but a few of the many HD
Yeah, new
assets that
upres
Blizzard have up their
ships.
sleeve as they, I suppose, polish up bits of the world. Also, the data miners over at Wowhead have uncovered even more gear for the upcoming Azerothian Archives in-game event. This time it's like backpacks, chisels, guns. It's all that kind of like old, I suppose, like pulp comic explorer stuff, like
Very
what
cool.
Indiana Jones was inspired by. Yeah, it all looks great. Kind of sucked the original coloration was only available via Recruit a Friend.
And yeah, it was only available via Recruit a Friend. I just want to see them bring archaeology back. I feel like all of this stuff has to do with archaeology. The shovel, the backpack, even the gun. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like they got to bring archaeology back. Make it great again.
So very nice to see. It
was a
for this
cool
event, it
thing.
does seem like they're trying a few different things with it. It seems to be based on Azerothian history, which I think is pretty damn cool.
Azerothian
and while
history,
we are supposed to be able to
archaeology,
test solo
link,
events
man.
within this, they don't appear to be on the PTR yet. And finally, for the future, a massive amount of new trading post items. Here's a cute duck that, because of its $9.99 placeholder cost, means it's almost certainly a monthly reward. There's some other neat-looking pets, and there's also these over-the-shoulder cloaks.
Yes.
That, really
Yes.
do look pretty damn awesome.
Amazing.
Last week, Wowhead showed off some other things. Again, at 999 tender, we've got what appear to be two monthly
The
rewards.
Valentine's,
Love Witch's attire and the
February
majestic Azure Peafowl. The Peafowl looks awesome, and I suppose if you want some magical anime girl, like
Let's just be honest. It's a peacock mount. We finally got the peacock mount. Yeah.
if you want
Wonderful.
some magical anime girl, like Sailor Moon and stuff, well,
yeah.
that
There you
witch
go.
outfit will absolutely be for you.
Anime
There's
girls and
also this
furries.
very pink-looking fox that looks terrific. I really love how long its
is wow.
snout is, and these very fancy-looking face masks, along with some cool new weapons, parasol toys, and love crowns. So clearly, Blizzard gearing up for Valentine's Day. And if you did catch a whiff of Trading Post drama, there's a little bit of that to come. Next then, turns out the tier quest wasn't quite finished, because this week you get a letter from Valune if you've completed the previous step, and this leads to you getting the Tier's Guard tab art, which looks
Nice.
pretty great, and also a final conversation that sees Tyr unsure of his place in the world, and Travart saying that, well, look, all of this happening points to a greater purpose. It's just one that we haven't found yet. And Tyr says he hopes that Travart
I need
is
to do the
right.
Tyr quest
Again, the
line.
last
I've
thing
been
that
liking
Tyr
on
said
that.
is he had a lot to ponder. We see him again this week, and he's still pondering. Maybe he's losing a little bit of hope. Doesn't actually understand what his place in this new world is. He even points out, like, hey, Travart,
Tyr is going to join us. I totally believe it. I think Tyr is starting, like he said, he's starting to lose some hope. He's starting to question the purpose of the Titans and everything and why he was made. I think he's going to help us fight the Titans in the end.
back
Maybe
when I was
sacrifice
kicking
himself in
around,
the process.
Humans didn't even exist. Now, yes, Tyr absolutely will have a purpose, and Tyr should really go and talk to Khadgar, because after Farak's death, Khadgar spoke of the Karen Tor telling him that something is moving in the shadows, that an ancient enemy is stirring, incited by some harbinger whom Eridikron has had dark dealings with.
Yeah,
Which obviously
Xalatath.
means Xalatath and the Nerubians of
That's right.
Azj-Kahet. He also says that he's spoken with an old friend who's going to investigate, leaving us all wondering, who is that old friend, and could it possibly be Medivh? Meanwhile then...
Yeah, we
Thrall
talked
and-
about this, these voice notes and stuff, the sit a while and listen at the party after you, do the whole Amir Drasil quest line and all that stuff. I do think it's Medivh. I personally think it's Medivh that he's talking about, and that's, we saw there's going to be, the Medivh transmog and all that stuff.
Thrall and Jaina speak of starting to get the visions, the ones that later will become a lot more extreme and headachy that Anduin and Thrall experience in that cinematic. So no doubt then that I think both factions will have some form of storyline that's leading us into the next expansion. I mean, you've got Thrall and Jaina as characters who are experiencing these visions. Seems like if you want to have a bit of a vision-related storyline in the game, you maybe do it with those two characters. And
Yeah.
hey, I suppose we'll probably discuss discover a little bit of Tyr's purpose. Okay, in-game stuff. What about playing WoW? Well,
This guy
LFR Wing 3 is
rocked
open. It's actually
us,
pretty
man.
great. Wings 1, 2, and 3 have came out weekly, though, but they have pulled a big old blizzard, and LFR Wing 4 will be available on the 12th of December. Now, with access to Agira, to Smolderon, to Laradar, and to Nimue, well, you can actually get 4 Tyr tokens, plus a few of those excellent, very rare items. I'm happy to say that, yes, even though it was in a normal mode reclear, I do have the very rare healer trinket, so I'm a very happy boy. Now, also, a new revival catalyst charge generated this week, and once 10.2.5
Oh, so I
drops,
can get my
which will
4 set
likely
now.
be mid to early January, your charges will generate weekly. Then we've got Firalath, the legendary axe. That has got some better bad luck protection built in from the start.
The underwhelming. Man, only a 5 to 6% boost in your damage. Come on. This thing should have been like a 10%.
With there being 2 ways to obtain it. So, you can
Takes
obtain
so much
it
to
either
make it.
via mythic group loot or personal loot from all other difficulties. Defeating Farak every week contributes to your bad luck protection. And then there's these items that you can loot from Farak and other bosses throughout the raid that will increase your chances. So, if you've noticed you're getting greater and lesser embers of Firalath, well, that's what those are. Essentially, the more of those you have, the better the drop rate will actually be.
Maybe I get it today.
So, overall, pretty neat and far better communicated than last time with Najero. And like Najero, there's actually a little quest line at the end. For that quest line, get ready for some very expensive crafting mats, but it ends with a fight against an echo of Farak and a pretty neat looking cutscene. Honestly, for like a way to do a
Red Sun, I don't know, maybe it was 2% for you, but like if you're playing like at a 99th percentile, I saw the numbers. The Evoker one was a 5% buff to your damage essentially. But here's the thing, the Evoker one was just, it was a drop, you do a little quest and you got it. The Farak Legendary, there's a lot that goes into it, besides just even looting the item. You got to go ahead and craft it, and there's a ton of items you got to get to do that. So you would think that the longer the process is to finally get the Legendary, the more legendary the Legendary should be, right? But it's not. It's just, it's kind of meh. It is
legendary
what it is.
weapon. I think it's really cool. It does leave me thinking about the role of a legendary as an example. If this was some quest that maybe more people could do in this patch to get a basic version of the legendary and then maybe upgrade it over time. I mean, I know that would
The
kind of
Evoker stuff
erode
is
it
about
being
300k
legendary,
gold.
but maybe it could end up being a bunch of content for everybody who can wield that weapon.
I don't know. I wanted
Not
it to be
exactly
more.
sure. Tell me what you think. Anyway, in line with
fine.
last week's changes, we've also found out that Zaralek and Forbidden Reach rares have got their drop rates increased, and in spite of it being a bug that made it show LFR gear, the weekly time walking quest
there's
does
a bigger
in fact
difference in
drop
gold,
normal mode
definitely.
Amir Drasil gear. And sticking with gear, if you want to get into the new PvP mode, but you don't want to be turned into a fine paste by PvP players, you'll need some gear. But the problem is, it's very hard to get that gear when you're, of course, busy being turned into a fine paste. And that's where I've got some good news for you this week, the Comp Stomp Brawl, where instead you'll be turning AI-controlled players into a fine
Fight
paste.
against AI.
Future me here. Turns out they've delayed this until the
did delay
12th.
it.
However, based on that, you should still plan, and here's what you should do for whenever Comp Stomp is in the game.
Comp Stomp is basically an amazingly fast way to earn a shitload of honor, which, of course, it will get you the honor gear that will get you started in the new Battleground Blitz Brawl, which is A, great way to earn conquest, and B, Blizzard's test for solo queue RBGs, which I think could be a massive winner. And also, it is your way to get that more like edgy PvP colored version of the Emerald Dream
That's
set.
true.
That looks
I didn't even
really
think about
nice.
that.
And speaking of the Dream,
I'm not a big PvPer, but I think the Blood DK set for PvP, is it the red one? It might be the red one. I forgot. Man, you could get the coloration and just fight against AI.
completing the Emerald
think about
Dream
it.
meta achievement now grants you the Of the Emerald Dream title. This is because a bug caused the intended reward, the Forest Lord's Antlers, to instead drop from the treasure achievement, but they would rather just add a title to the meta rather than do some sort of rug pull for players. Okay, gameplay then. A small wave of class changes went out. Frost DKs, Resto Druids, Shadow Priests, and both Af and Destra Warlocks have been buffed, but more changes are expected this week, meaning Demon Hunters and Rogues, yeah, you guys have not escaped the nerf bat just yet.
And it's future me here again, because way
we
more...
just looked at the numbers, and Demon Hunters and Rogues are still like unbelievable. They're popping off, man.
Changes have dropped. So, Unholy, you've got 12 to 20% buffs to some of your core abilities. Havoc, you get a trio of 12% nerfs to Fel, Rush, and Barrage, as well as Immolation Aura.
Blood Boil,
Resto,
10%
your
increase.
cat form damage is down.
Was 20?
Devo,
What the
Evoker.
They fucking nerfed blood DKs as if we're literally a limp banana at this point. What the hell are they nerfing us for?
You're getting 5% more damage to everything. Beast Mastery Hunters, well, you've got some core 30% nerfs to your
Why are they
Foresight, because
doing
it was
this?
a little bit crazy. Mistweaver Monks, you're getting you're getting nerfs, and your
fuck you,
Mana
that's
Tea
why I guess.
is now half as effective. Ouch. Windwalker, 6% nerf. Holy Paladins, you can finally rejoice because Crusader Strike and Hammer of Wrath have seen a massive mana cost reduction
Time out.
and a damage increase. As for me, well, Discipline has lost 3% of its damage and 3%
Nice.
of its healing, but Holy is getting 4% more healing, and for the Rogues, you guys knew it was coming, Kingsbane and Blindside damage is down, while for the Resto Shamans, you guys are getting a bit more AoE damage.
Mythic Plus has also seen some further tuning then. In Morzon's
don't like
Rise,
these
the
number
timer has
adjustments.
increased by a minute. Tier has seen nerfs that will be more impactful in Tyrannical Week, so I think that'll make people happy. And the Time Lost Battlefield ranged ads have had their axes and arrows nerfed by 25%. And then they've changed the Chronolord's Novas to apply a 75% vulnerability rather than a 250% one. So yeah, you still don't want those to be going off together, but one mistake will no longer, I suppose, delete you all and brick your whole run. Everbloom
Great.
time then. So the Melted Berserkers, those are the ones that leap about the place, have had their whirl ability hit every 1.5 seconds instead of every second. And the Trio boss, they have had some nerfs.
I
With
gotta
the
do more
discharge
world
puddles
content.
being
I
easier to
haven't been doing
dodge and the
enough.
charge damage down 25%. And over in Darkheart Thicket, a dungeon that I'm very nostalgic about from the Legion days, Crushing Grip no longer pierces immunities on the big tree boss. So, there you go.
Darkheart Thicket to me is one of the easier ones in this Mythic Plus rotation. I've been doing it a lot.
Else? Well, the WoW lo-fi mixes are now on streaming services. The race to world first is over with Echo, Liquid, and Method clearing the raid in that order. And I will have some pretty damn cool stats for that
Crushing
in
Grip
my upcoming Amir Drasil
was a bitch.
player statistics video that we're working on. And Blizzard have actually went and reverted some of their range check API changes. Basically, these were made so that add-ons and weak auras could not do range checks between players and other
I'm not
units
doing
while in
11s,
combat.
okay.
It's now been partially reverted so that enemy targets once again will be checkable by the range check API. However, the range checking between friendly targets will still be restricted. So overall, Blizzard probably just found that the friendly unit range checks just allowed for too much stuff to be automated, which, yeah, is fair. And also, your buddy Jeff has got another tab art for you this month. It's the tab art of
Yeah,
the
I
Fury
don't run Mythic Plus on
that you can
stream.
get from your Prime Gaming.
Yeah,
How
get your
thrilling.
tabard.
And I suppose, speaking of loot, a little bit of trading post time. So, the monthly reward is this.
I don't get it.
Compared to getting a bunch of Titan
I
and
don't get it. Why is this the monthly loot reward? This is like just something you should be able to buy. It's a pink moose pet. We've gotten mounts, we've gotten crazy transmogs, now we're getting a pink moose pet. I don't know who made this decision.
Sargeras themed weaponry. I mean, call me heartless, but I just don't see the value in it. Okay, evokers, hunters, mages, shamans, you're getting your class stuff. We've got these two neat looking pets and a fantastic looking fox mount. Then plenty more simple
yeah, you're right, it's my
transmogs. And
favorite.
very much of note for many people, the Scarlet Zealot's trappings, which comes with the
Those are
chest,
cool.
the cloak, and importantly, the shield that will go well.
They should have just made this. They should have just made this the end of the... Like a Scarlet Monastery transmog would have been so much better. Plus, what I need Blizzard to do is make a transmog, like an offhand transmog, for a shield, even if you can't hold a shield. Because I want to hold this. As a Death Knight, I want to be able to hold a shield. I'm just saying. Let me
with
do it.
many transmogs, plus of course the Errant Crusader's helm.
Oh, I gotta get that helm, I forgot.
Looks pretty sick, and
Yeah,
there's a
it's
few other
amazing.
colorations of that also exist. They just aren't on the trading post right now. The weapons
get
do
that
look
helm.
great this time, but come on, man, the Candied Blade for 600, that's a bit too much. And then we've got the Whiff of Drama, the Storm Riders Stormhammers, which, man, these look incredible.
They're badass.
Looking at it, it's like, damn, I just want to tenderize a steak with that bad boy. But Blizzard, come
true.
on, this does kind of feel like you're selling part of a, of a premium transmog set within the store. Is Blizzard kind of thinking like, oh, maybe people will buy the Stormhammers, and like, oh,
Yeah, basically, if you bought the expansion set, like the Epic version, and you got the transmog set, you're going to need these hammers. So use your 400 tender.
gee, if
They
only
match.
I had a mount and a transmog to go with my nice pair of hammers. that's probably what they want, let's be real. Then I want to say a massive thanks to our members at Bellular.ghost.io. Month 1 went fantastic. We, of course, had Loading Screen, our daily newsletter, out. That's been brilliant to have going. We launched loads of videos across both our channels into early access, and with our third editor coming back from break really soon, I think we'll be even more ahead of schedule shortly. I'm thinking about big plans for Warcraft lore content, and just big picture, your support has meant a hell of a lot, and right now, we're cooking up more content, as well, more exclusive videos and behind the scenes stuff for, you know, peaks and that sort of thing over on Ghost, as well as some other plans that I will share in due course, as well, of course, as just a, you know, nice old Christmas slate of content for our members, which should be very fun to work on. So that's what's going on. Members, thank you for all of your support. And with that said, that is it for today's video. That is the WoW News. If you're doing Season of Discovery, go and have fun. And if you want to check out my trio or my duo, even of War Within videos, I recommend checking them out. Basically a total recap of all of the lore, which dives, I mean, it's a Jared absolutely nailed the script. It dives in really deep. So if you want to know everything that there is to know about the setting, you can check that out. And if you want to know every single game feature and all the information that we found out from all of the interviews in a single 20-minute long video, check that one out next as well. That's it for me. Have an awesome weekend. And of course, I'll be back next week with plenty of content.
Yeah. Look, I think WoW's popping off in all phases right now. Season of Discovery is popping off. Classic is, you know, whatever, it's Cataclysm Classic. Retail, to me, is in a great spot right now. The raid is fun, the content's fun, and I've been enjoying the game. World of Warcraft, the immortal one.